Hello, I'm Adam,
And I'm Adrian.
and welcome to Cast from the Crypt. It's a little late, but better late than never. We said we'd do it last time, we're doing it. Halloween 4, The Return of Micheal Myers. Halloween 4,
Also,
the
the
return
return.
of us talking about
I was
this
That's
franchise.
literally what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in my opinion, this is like one of the last decent sequels.
I don't even think I'll give it that, but I'm glad. It's,
Believe me, I'm not. There's no high praise for me on this one, but in a franchise that really, really goes off the deep end, like really, really goes off the deep end, I'll take it.
See, this is why people have problems being a Halloween franchise fan. This is
Yes.
why I think you aren't a fan of the franchise.
Right?
There are a few good movies, and then most of them are like this movie, where it's like, man, this is just terrible. I think this is the movie where the quality plummets. You could argue Season of the Witch, which is Halloween 3, is where the quality plummets, but everything after that is pretty much unwatchable. I think H2O is good, Halloween 20 years later. That came out, I think, late 90s, like 98, 99.
98, I think.
Yeah, and that movie's good, and then the 2018 reboot is good. So, very sparse in what is quality. After
Yeah,
the third, or after the second movie, I'll even say. But,
I got to agree.
yeah. So, for a little bit of context, Halloween Season of the Witch is the third movie in the installment. The Halloween franchise was intended to be an anthology franchise. It wasn't going to be about Michael Myers. Michael Myers was going to be the first movie about a scary serial killer guy. Then there was going to be a second movie about something else, a third movie about something else, and they were all going to be Halloween themed, and that was the general idea. But so many people liked the Michael Myers story that when Halloween 2 came out, they decided they'll continue with Michael Myers. But the plan was still for it to be an anthology series. So the third movie, Halloween Season of the Witch, came out, and it was following this anthology plan. It had nothing to do with Michael Myers. It was about haunted masks being produced by an evil company who stole Stonehenge. But it's not a very good movie, and people were expecting Michael Myers, and so people really didn't like that. It did not work out, and so for all the movies after the third movie, this movie, the fourth movie, they decided we're going to go back to Michael Myers. So already, this movie is them pulling Michael Myers out after they shelved him, dusting him off and trying to breathe life back into him. So already, it begins as a half-hearted idea. It's a compromise of a movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I believe this is when Mustafa Akkad understood what needed to be done as far as bringing back the, very popular character of Michael Myers. But beyond that, there was no real vision for the franchise. This is also about the time where John Carpenter really wanted nothing to do with the franchise. That already started in Season of the Witch, but really after Season of the Witch, he was distancing himself from these projects, and it became like a Mustafa Akkad project, right? It's when he really took over, and you see his name stamped in massive orange letters at the beginning of every movie, I believe, after 2.
Yeah, he was like the big producer on all the movies until, I think, the reboot. I think until the most recent 2018 reboot.
Well, yeah, he died tragically in
Yes.
2005, and he was a Syrian film producer, and he ended up dying in the 2005 Amman bombings, and he of course couldn't continue, but I believe his son stayed active, right?
Couldn't. I think maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know. His daughter was also with him tragically when that happened.
Oh wow, really? I
Yeah.
didn't even know
So
that. That's in Jordan. I apologize.
well, another person who comes back for this movie, and I think like the only other person that comes back, is Donald Pleasance, who plays Samuel Loomis, Dr. Loomis. And he's pretty focused on in this movie and the movie after this. But my biggest problem with this movie, the reason I don't find it very entertaining, very interesting, is it's pretty much they redo a lot of the first movie. They do a lot of ground that's already been covered. It begins with Michael Myers, who's been in a coma ever since that explosion at the end of the second movie. He's being transferred from one hospital to another one, and lo and behold, what could happen? He awakens and kills the ambulance, everybody in the ambulance, and escapes, which is like how he escapes. And they do that again in the reboot too. That's always how he escapes. He escapes every time they try to transfer him. They need to stop trying to transfer him. But that's the genesis of every movie at this point. And then Samuel Loomis finds out he escapes and has to hunt him down, which is the exact start of the first movie.
It's because every movie, the reason they have to do that in every sequel is because every Halloween sequel pretends it's the final sequel, and they have these big final endings, right, where they fully intend to end the franchise, and they have to come up with some creative way to bring him back. So either he's locked up forever, or he's escaped into the night never to be seen again until the next Halloween, or he's killed. It makes for some really ridiculous stories as to how he survived each previous film. With this one, already, I don't know if you said how long he's been in the coma, but the time between Halloween 2 and this movie, it's 10 years. So he's been comatose for 10 years, he's being transported, and then all of a sudden he shoots awake in the ambulance. And you're right, it was not very original when they did it in 88, and they still can't think of a creative way of bringing back Michael.
Yeah, and it just continues to be a generic Halloween movie from there. So Michael escapes, and we see Samuel Loomis, who, if you don't remember the ending of the second movie, also was in the explosion that supposedly put Michael in this coma. And in this movie, he has a cane and I'll say it with air quotes, scar. The scarring on the side of his face, and it's pretty unnoticeable, kind of bad. It's not good makeup, and no. I am very certain that it changes throughout the movie too. It is not a consistent shape. And he's like, considering Michael Myers, the killing machine he is, was put in a coma for 10 years, I will say Samuel Loomis got off pretty scot-free.
No, it is incredibly inconsistent. You're right. I noticed that it changed a few times, and in the other sequels that he's in, it also looks incredibly different. But I don't know. I think it's kind of charming. I think Donald Pleasance is one of the few things that it's enjoyable about this movie, in my opinion. He's one of the few things that I find enjoyable about the 4 sequels in Halloween that he's in. I quite like him as this character.
I do too. It's so many characters giving terrible performances, half-hearted performances even. Just like it seems like this is their first acting gig, and then you have Donald Pleasance like over the top spouting on about how Michael Myers is the devil himself and the world is gonna end because Michael escaped and untold havoc will be wreaked on Haddonfield, Illinois. And it's fun to have that energy, because I feel like this movie would just be so dead without him.
Yeah. Did you notice how unhinged he is in this entry?
Yes. Like
in the first movie, he's, he talks about how evil Michael is, but he's calculated and he's very professional, and he monologues often, but he's not excitable really per se. And the second movie, he is unhinged because he talks about how many times he shot him, and he's kind of becoming a madman. And in this movie, it's like when you thought he couldn't get worse than Halloween 2. It's a lot of Donald Pleasance running around and yelling, but it's entertaining.
No, I think so too. This early part of the movie too, where he's being focused on and Michael's escaped and now he has to give chase, is maybe the most interesting part of the movie to me. Just like in the first movie, you can complain about this and I kind of will, but Michael goes to a mechanic. The same poor mechanic, I guess. Michael really hates him, and he kills the mechanic so he could take his cool clothes, because I guess Michael Myers has to have the mechanic jumpsuit just as much as he has to have that mask. So he kills that mechanic for his jumpsuit. But Samuel Loomis actually catches up to him before he leaves this gas station. But before Loomis can kill him, Michael steals a car and zooms away. And somehow, while he's zooming away, I think he this is like a Rube Goldberg thing. I think he skims a telephone wire and then it falls down and hits the gas pumps, and the whole gas station / mechanic shop explodes dramatically. And then Loomis is stranded in the road, which is hilarious because Michael is... I didn't realize Michael Myers was the baby driver, and also dramatic Fast and Furious explosion.
Yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous moment. I do like the fact that Loomis has to hitchhike back to Haddonfield.
Yeah. And while he's hitchhiking, he meets this like hyper religious guy, and they keep cryptically alluding to how he has this cross, this burden to bear that he has to kill Michael. And the guy driving him is like, I hear that, brother. Like also cryptically alluding that he relates somehow, and they don't elaborate. When I was watching this, I like to interpret it as the other guy like also was hunting a deranged serial killer, and that's like it's happening at the same time. That's another franchise. That's another movie.
That's another anthology film.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just a weird detail to add, but okay.
Yeah, this movie is very... I feel that it takes itself a little too seriously. And that's me knowing... So the guy that wrote this movie, Alan McElroy, he has written stuff for Spawn, which is kind of an edgy franchise, but in my opinion, it has a sense of humor. But he also wrote an entry or a couple of entries for the Wrong Turn franchise. And out of all the stuff that he's written, I find that this movie has a weird sense of importance. Did you feel that while watching it?
Oh, yeah.
Every character feels like they're trying to say something, or like they're trying to represent something. And then, of course, the familial connection, Laurie Strode having a daughter, and I don't know, the generational trauma element of this movie. For me, it's doing a lot, or it's trying to do a lot, and it doesn't do any of it successfully. And that's what's really weird about it.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
I keep saying this. It's pretty much the first movie, but worse.
It is, and we don't even get Laurie Strode.
We don't. So yeah, I guess. Meanwhile, while Michael's doing all this chicanery, blowing up gas stations and driving out of the explosion, we're introduced to Jamie, who is Laurie Strode's daughter. She has and we're revealed this through like clunky dialogue and her holding a picture of Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode freaking like dies off camera in a car crash, I believe. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh yeah, it's sad that she died, now you're an orphan. And like, wow. how unceremonious. But they could not get Jamie Lee Curtis back for this movie, and I don't blame her.
I don't either.
I wouldn't have if I was her. And now we're focusing on Jamie. And Jamie's like a little girl. She's like 11, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, she's a tyke. And she's like... She's in a foster home situation, right?
Well, she's living with, this foster family. and I think the parents are like completely unimportant. They barely show them because immediately the movie takes place on Halloween night, of course, and on Halloween day, and immediately these parent figures like leave to go to a Halloween party. These parents' teenage daughter Rachel is put in charge of Jamie. She has to take care of Jamie throughout the day and like go trick or treating with her, and so the victims, the like main character slash final girl dynamic is split between these two characters, Rachel and Jamie. It's teenage girl and this younger child, which you could once again compare to like Jamie Lee Curtis and the kids she was babysitting in the first movie. So like once again, it's kind of the first movie again, but whatever, they put more importance on Jamie Lloyd, who is Laurie Strode's daughter. So
I like Jamie and Rachel's relationship in the movie. It's one of the more, in my opinion, believable elements in the film. The Rachel loves Jamie clearly, but is bummed out because when her parents leave to go to that party, she has to cancel a date with her boyfriend. And there's some believable and fairly interesting character stuff there between the two of them, and I buy Rachel's angst. Rachel ends up taking Jamie to get ice cream, buy a Halloween costume. She comes around. She's upset at first, but she comes around. We get to see the relationship sort of evolve, and I think that's nice before we get into the action, right? Before we get into the drama of Michael chasing them around.
Yeah, when we get a little, like, she's a teenage girl and they're a family sort of development. Like, she has a boyfriend, I think, that, like, she was gonna go party with, but now she has to take care of her rotten little adoptive sister. But it's fine. It's whatever. Some more setup, I guess. In this movie's continuity, Laurie Strode is still Michael Myers' sister, making Jamie Michael Myers' niece. So the motive Michael has for this movie, for chasing Jamie throughout the movie, is that they're related. And it's the same motive they give him in the second movie. I don't know how I feel about that motive. Maybe it's more controversial than I thought it was. I don't really like it. Clearly, enough people didn't like it that in Halloween 2018, they retconned that.
Yeah, and they even make it a joke in the movie.
Yeah, they make jokes about it. It's not real. Because it's kind of... It's a reason, but why? Like, why does he have to kill everyone he's related to? They don't really elaborate. It's just a reason just to be a reason. It doesn't make any more sense than he's just a deranged killer, and you don't know why. So... I don't know, but that's what you can expect with the earlier sequels of this franchise, I guess.
Jamie, because she is Michael Myers' niece, has visions throughout the movie in which she sees Michael. And as I said before, Rachel takes Jamie to, buy a Halloween costume for Halloween. And Michael, when he gets into Haddonfield just after blowing up the gas station in dramatic fashion, goes to the very same store where Jamie bought her Halloween costume, which is that clown costume, right?
Yeah, she's wearing a clown costume. She chose to be a clown for Halloween.
Call back to, of course, the costume that Michael wears when he kills his sister in the first movie. But
when he's 6 years old, yeah.
Right.
Which I thought was a little on the nose. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was on the nose. And it's even more on the nose at the end.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But he steals a mask from that shop, and it's a bleached William Shatner mask. We have our first interaction between Jamie and Michael here in the store. But it's a rushed sequence. I think Michael tries to attack Jamie while they're like visiting the store, but then she runs out and screams in anguish. And then, yes, the hunt begins.
Yes, so it's Halloween night. Everybody's trick-or-treating. Rachel's taking Jamie trick-or-treating. And while they're walking through the neighborhood, she sees her boyfriend kissing another girl. And she's upset about it. And they had this big teenage drama kind of falling out. And while she's distracted by that, Jamie wanders off with a group of school kids. And so her friends... And so now they're separated. Oh no. You know, you can see where this is going.
I just have to note how ridiculous. So Brady, Rachel's boyfriend, is cheating with the sheriff's daughter. And I just want to point out that character is so ridiculous, the sheriff's daughter. She's like by the fireside in the oversized t-shirt and exists for the sole purpose of being, you know, some like romantic interest.
Yeah, she's the mischievous woman. She's like
So dumb.
if you get this a niche reference, but she's like Lori in that 70s show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
The older sister in that 70s show. Yeah, that's pretty much her character.
There was no other way they could have made Rachel lose track of Jamie. I don't know. It just made me laugh out loud watching the movie. It's such a ridiculous little arc.
Yeah, she was literally distracted by teenage drama. So
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. While that happens, I think Michael arrives in Haddonfield and breaks into their house and goes to Jamie's bedroom and finds that picture of Laurie Strode in the bedroom. And then he goes out, and I don't know what this is supposed to tell us. First of all, why did he break into this house out of all the houses? To me, that leads me to think he has some sort of psychic connection with his niece. And that's kind of what we've been led to believe. Like, she's having dreams about him. Clearly, there's like this weird psychic bond. And so maybe that's how he knows where she lives. Then he breaks in and finds that picture of Lori in her bedroom. So then he sets out into the night trying to find her. But, like, why, if he's psychic and, like, he's already in her house, wouldn't he already know? Like, what does that tell him? What does this picture tell him? It doesn't make any sense, and they don't elaborate.
That's a great point.
Yeah, so I don't know. The motives and the mechanics of Michael Myers in this movie are really vague and don't really make any consistent sense. He's whatever. He's Michael Myers, I guess. He's gonna go kill people. Don't think about it.
After this happens, Loomis is in Haddonfield running around like a madman, and the sheriff that I talked just a little bit about earlier, he stops him, tells him, hey, Michael's back, and we need to do something about him. And then we get probably the most ridiculous part of the movie, where Michael causes a mass power outage by throwing this innocent power station worker into a what are those things called?
A transformer?
Thank you. He throws him into the transformer and causes a mass blackout.
Well, yeah, and it's like the hilarious like zzz, like cartoon shocks.
It's very Looney Tunes. And then he goes to the police station and kills every single cop inside the police station. The
cops in this town are just incompetent. We should mention also, it's not the same sheriff from the previous movies.
No.
So they, once again, couldn't even get that guy to come back. The new sheriff's like kind of younger, I guess. And I guess this also gives them a reason for him to not believe Loomis as much. But like, I don't know. He takes him mildly seriously and then says, okay, well, I'll go with you to go search the Myers residence, to go search to see if he's out there. And that's why he's gone when Michael comes to the police station and kills all the cops. So every cop is dead except, I think, like a couple of them that weren't there at the time, including the sheriff, who was with Loomis. So the sheriff's still alive, and I think there's 2 other cops that are still alive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Yeah, but it's okay. We didn't need cops because the word gets out that maybe a certain Michael Myers is back in town. And so what's going to happen? The 3%ers, the local rednecks are going to get in their truck, load up their guns, and they're going to go, they're going to find themselves a Michael Myers.
God. In contrast to the Transformer bit, I love this part.
I do too.
I really love this part because it reminds you that this movie takes place in the Midwest. All these folks getting their guns, their goofy outfits, and good old mob justice. I think that's something that the Halloween movies. I think that's now a staple of Halloween.
I'm glad. And I should clarify that the everybody in this lynch mob looks like a lumberjack or a fur trapper.
Yeah. They look very Canadian.
Yeah, they're goofy. It's Paul Bunyan.
Yes, very Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, well, all of this is happening. All these different elements are happening, and there's pretty much no reason for Rachel to freak out, but she sees Michael and is chased by him a little bit, but nothing really happens. She just kind of runs away, isn't really hurt or anything, and then is wandering the streets trying to find Jamie. And I mean wandering these streets and yelling Jamie's name when she's been chased by Michael Myers, and why is no one else in the streets? We literally see Jamie and that gaggle of kids, all the kids go home and into their houses and just leave Jamie in the street. And then Jamie's looking around like she's lost and she doesn't know where she is. And maybe a kid would get lost like that on Halloween, but also I'm kind of not buying it. She lives there. Surely someone would be in the street, or someone would be like, why is there a crying child wandering around outside? Maybe that's just me.
Well, also, we're led to believe this mob is built up so fast because Haddonfield is a small, close, tight-knit town. But then all of a sudden she's lost, and it feels like we're supposed to believe it's this great big world, and yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, how far could Jamie have wandered?
Right. And where could she have gone where they, somebody wouldn't immediately say, oh, the Lloyd girl's missing? Not to mention, she's the orphan girl. People know her. People know what happened to her mom.
Well, they established that because she gets bullied in school because her uncle is Michael Myers.
Exactly.
Once again, a very ridiculous scene, but...
Yeah.
So I think Rachel literally just, finds Jamie. Oh, there you are. And then the sheriff and Loomis show up and take the girls to the sheriff's house. And they're all gonna just sit there and wait for Michael. They're gonna barricade the house. They got a cop upstairs. They're gonna have one downstairs. And I believe they're gonna put Brady, who is Rachel's boyfriend, they're gonna give him a gun and put him in the attic. And then Kelly, the sheriff's daughter, is there, of course. So there's danger. There's a threat. They're literally just sitting there waiting for this lunatic to come try to kill them all. And there's a love triangle. And they kind of have a little spat, Rachel and Kelly. Why were you kissing my boyfriend? I would have forgotten about that so quickly in this situation. Yeah. I would not care at all.
This temporary ass boyfriend that you have.
There's a murderer.
There is a maybe the guy at least is pretty hardcore if he got up from a 10-year coma and is immediately in a murderous rage. I think that takes precedence over.
Yeah, forget about the relationship for now.
She's wearing a ridiculous shirt. What is the shirt that she's got on?
I just remember it being like huge, but like even bigger than Brady. Like
It's like,
it's her whole clothes. It's just one huge shirt.
oh no, yeah, it's all she's wearing, but it's like, it's something like cops can do it, or
Yeah,
like
you're right.
it's
Yeah.
something. It's just something weird. A decent touch, I suppose, for a sheriff's daughter, but like, so yeah, they're barricaded in the house, and this part is kind of a fog to me because there really is so much going on between Brady, Rachel, the sheriff's daughter, then the sheriff interacting with Loomis, and Michael actively sneaking into the house, breaking in. There's a lot going on here. I do know Michael eventually gets in and is able to kill like that random deputy that's in there and Kelly.
Yeah. I looked up the shirt. The shirt
You looked
says
up the what?
the shirt. I looked up what the shirt says because I
Oh,
was
God.
very curious. It says "Cops get it done by the book."
That's right.
Which
Cops
what
get it. It's
what is
so specific.
what does that mean? Because of her like the suggestiveness of the character, I interpret the shirt suggestively, but like her dad is a cop. Like I don't. What does that mean? I don't know what it means. It's weird.
Oh, maybe people that have like police family. No, I just do not. Maybe that's like a popular.
We're not in, or that
We're not.
We're not in on that late '80s police lingo. So
We're not. We're not. I'll have to ask around. I'll have to ask my people. Michael breaks into the house. He kills the poor random deputy that's in there, and he also kills Kelly. This is when Rachel and Jamie are able to get to the attic, and her boyfriend, or I guess ex-boyfriend at this point, tries his best to fight Michael, and Michael just makes quick work of him, snaps his neck. In what's kind of a disappointing kill. You know, it's like, that's the one thing for me is there are some decent kills in this movie, but none of them immediately come to mind.
yeah, it's all pretty much stabbing and choking.
Right. And I don't want to see choking from Michael. Like, I want creative stabbing and brutal stuff, but whatever. He snaps his neck. The girls then are, they're actively being chased. They're in the attic, so they make their way onto the roof, and Michael attacks Rachel, and she falls off the roof, and she is knocked unconscious, but the little one, Jamie, is able to escape.
Jamie run. Yeah, I don't understand this scene because Rachel tells Jamie to get on her back, and then they climb on the roof. And I guess I understand she wanted to keep her safe, but like kids are much more spidery than you. You know, they can climb
Right.
easier than you can. And there was a certain point in this sequence where I was like, she should have just gotten off her back and like ran away herself at this point. It's a little ridiculous. It's just blocked weird. Like the movement is weird on camera, but whatever. Yeah, she's knocked unconscious. Jamie escapes. She's running away from house. She, I think, finds Loomis, who went... Yeah, Loomis went down to, like, I think the Myers house to find him. And so she runs down to get Loomis. Loomis grabs her and takes her into the school. They're going to hide in this school, and Michael once again sniffs him out and is following them. And now it's... I think Michael just, like... I don't remember where he does this, but he literally throws Loomis, like, out of the building, I believe.
Yeah, he throws him through a glass door.
Okay, yeah, he, like, there you go. He's literally out of the picture. He throws him out of set. And then continues to chase this little girl through the school.
Yeah.
And there's, like, a fire alarm going off at this point, too, I think.
Yeah, as he's chasing Jamie, Rachel comes back. I guess she woke up, and she squirts Michael with a fire extinguisher.
Yes, okay, and then back to the lynch mob, which is the part of the movie I really like. They just show up, I guess, because they heard the siren. They don't really explain why. That's where they show up. And the two girls tell them that Michael's chasing him. You got to get us out of here. And they agree. They do a good job of making this lynch mob seem fearful. I think there's a scene where like they have to go into a house and like none of them are willing to do it because they are afraid of Michael Myers. That's why they formed the lynch mob, is they know they have lived in this town for over 10 years and they remember how catastrophic it was the first time he got out. So they don't want to stay and fight Michael. They agree to just take these two girls to the next town over and like leave and let the cops handle it. While they're driving to the next town over, like a slew of police cars like zoom past them. They're all going to Haddonfield. So you think, okay, it's all under control. As they're driving down the road, we find out. I don't know when he did this or had time to do this, or, you know, how that no one noticed, but Michael Myers was pulling a Cape Fear. It was holding onto the underside of the truck.
And under the freaking truck.
Yeah, under the freaking truck. And while they're going like 50 miles an hour down this back rural road is when he chooses to climb out and on top of the truck. And well, he comes up there and he just starts killing every one of these lynch mob men. He kills the two that are in the bed of the truck, and then I think he kills the driver and the guy in the passenger seat. So now it's literally once again just Rachel, Jamie, and Michael. And Rachel, it's this whole like trying to shake him off of the truck as he's trying to stab her through the window. It's a scene you've seen before in lots of slashers, but this is Halloween's chance to do this bit, I guess.
Yeah, she does get him off the truck, and then she runs him over.
Yes, but he doesn't just get run over. He gets thrown into a valley, and where does he land? He lands in a ditch, I think. He lands at he lands at the mouth of an abandoned mine. Ooh. like a cartoon Miner 49er mine he's in front of now. That's the set piece.
And so now we have the sheriff, Loomis, and a lynch mob. Oh, and more cops. Going into an abandoned mine to get Michael. Or no, they're surrounding him around the abandoned mine. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But then we get what nobody wanted or asked for, a scene in which Jamie and Michael connect. Yeah. So he's like laying there, and Jamie, for whatever reason, decides to go to the body. Because I think they presume he's dead, right?
Yes.
Or at least gravely injured. And though she has been chased by this man, and he has tried to kill her throughout 80 minutes of this film, she suddenly called to him, and she goes, she grabs his hand, and he gets up, and all of them shoot him in what is an hilarious moment.
Yeah, it's like a crowd has, like in the first movie, he gets shot by Loomis, and it's amazing he survives. Right. In this movie, he is surrounded by like a SWAT team, and they just lay into him. It's like, tens of guns being fired at him. And the mine shaft we now know is there, so that way there's a huge dramatic, he keeps getting shot and he falls backwards into the mine and kerplunks at the bottom in like the most dramatic way possible.
And we're led to believe that that's the end of Michael Myers in this movie.
Yeah.
And it is the end of Michael.
Yes, but it's not the end of the movie. And anytime a movie like this keeps going, that's when like, okay, well, something else is going to happen. Michael's going to come back, or, can't be over if the movie's still running and Michael's gone. In what I thought was a pretty obvious this was going to happen in this movie, Loomis takes Jamie and Rachel back home. The mother goes upstairs and starts to turn on the bathtub because her kids are traumatized and she wants to bathe them. She turns around and, oh no, exactly like the opening scene of the first movie. There's a little clown child stabbing the mother to death next to that bathtub. Then it's Jamie, who'd have thought, appears on the staircase in her clown costume holding some bloody scissors, and Loomis in the most over dramatic way possible. I like impressively melodramatic is screaming, "No! No!" And I think he tries to shoot her, but the sheriff stops him from doing that. And then it's like, cue the music, cue that Halloween music. The evil has transferred into this child and she has killed just like he did.
He like crawls into the fetal position.
Yeah.
And is just like crying. The Halloween music is playing as we watch Donald Pleasance on the ground in the fetal position.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you. This is my favorite part of the movie.
Is it?
I love it. I think it's so stupid and so corny and yet so much better than like anything we got in Halloween 3 and anything we get in the rest of the Mustafa Akkad Halloween movies.
I get that, I guess. And this is what I mean when I say that clown costume was so on the nose. Because, like, when she put that clown costume on, I was like, okay, well, she's gonna turn evil by the end of this movie. It kind of gives it away.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you. It gives it away, but I'm into it. Also, the visions, of course, that she's having throughout the movie. It's pretty obvious what's gonna happen.
Whatever. And then you think, like, Loomis tries to kill her, so you think, like, oh, she must be evil because Loomis somehow, like, knows without a shadow of a doubt the moral character of Micheal Myers, and now probably knows the moral character of he can recognize evil somehow because he's studied Michael for all these years, That's, like, the mythology they build up behind Loomis. I don't know if you saw the next movie.
Oh, yeah, I've seen all the Curse of Thorn trilogy.
Okay. Well, yeah, in the next movie, it's still starring Jamie, and she's not evil.
Nope.
She's fine. She just, like, had a episode, pretty much, and then was, like, fine after that. And then continues to have, like, visions of Micheal Myers, but, like, isn't evil for the rest of the franchise. So even this is, like, something they half-heartedly did and then kind of soft retconned. So they didn't even stick to their guns with this ending that they very obviously were gonna try to pull off. You were expecting to happen before this movie ended. So it's, whatever.
Now, don't they, like, in the 5th movie, The Revenge of Micheal Myers, the one right after this, don't they rewrite the fact that she killed her? Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I know that they establish, they go way in. They put all their chips in the telepathic thing with her and Michael.
Yeah.
I could have sworn that they, like, made it, oh, she attacked her, almost killed her. But I don't know.
Maybe they did. It's something they don't touch. I don't even know if we see the mother or father characters. I think we see Rachel, and that's it. So these characters were never important in this movie and are not important in the movies after. So it's low stakes. Nothing really is going to happen. It's just for dramatic effect. This whole movie was for dramatic effect, and it does a bad job at it.
Yep. Look, I'll say this. I like this movie more than anything past Halloween 2018 and anything that came after it. Meaning after this entry. So, like, I like it more than all the Mustafa Akkad entries that came after it, and I like it more than Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So for me, it's like maybe my 4th favorite Halloween movie.
Okay.
Which isn't saying much.
Well, I will say I liked Halloween Kills a lot more than this. I just think it's more entertaining. more interesting.
Fair. That's fair.
This movie's not very entertaining, honestly. And the fifth movie, the movie that comes right after this, is the same movie.
Yeah,
like
it
the
is.
exact same movie. He's chasing this exact same little girl through town with this exact same teenage girl and her friends, and it's the same. And Loomis is there. It's the same movie, and this movie's kind of it's not the most interesting. It's definitely not creative. It's one of the more boring entries in the franchise, I'll say. And you don't want to watch it twice. You're gonna make that same movie twice. So yeah, the fifth movie might be my least favorite movie just for that.
Fair.
But whatever.
Yeah. Very fair. I'll always tell people, watch Halloween 2 if you want, which I think is actually decent. Watch Halloween 2018. I think you can skip all the other ones.
Yeah. H2O. I'll say H2O.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like H2O. That's fair.
H2O is fun. I do like it.
In H2O, do they keep Halloween 2 canon?
I believe so.
I don't
Maybe
remember.
they do.
But
It's been a while.
yeah, for me too. But anyway, yeah, H2O is fun. And the one with Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, that one's like just absurd. The Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah.
Halloween Resurrection is like I easily the most wildly different tonally than all the movies in this franchise.
Say what you want, but Busta Rhymes serves.
Busta Rhymes, man, he makes that movie. The movie's like sacrilegious in many ways, but it's also like hilarious. Like easily the funniest one. And it's so not serious. It's clearly that era of Scream. We're digressing onto a whole nother movie, but yeah, my final thoughts. Don't watch Halloween 4. Watch The Revenge of Micheal Myers.
Retweet. Yeah, this movie's whatever. I don't hate it as much as I hate a lot of the other movies in this franchise, but I don't love it. You know,
I don't love this. No
Those
love.
are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I know it's late, and we probably won't get to talk about another Halloween movie until next October.
Until then, buddy.
Until then. Ooh, it's the end of spooky season. Yeah, well, happy Thanksgiving, and Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year, and all the other holidays between then and now. Thank you for joining me, Adrian.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Goodbye.